What's up guys, it's Solo and I am a Sage main. I already have over 100 hours of playing Sage in the closed beta, and here are a few tips and tricks that I like to do on this map Haven. If we're going to start from A side of the map. If you somehow happen to have 0 smokers on your team and you need to ice out Heaven, you can just look at the 6th square from the left. Look pretty much right at the, I want to say the roof right there. And you can get a nice little bounce right into Heaven. I rarely do this though. Usually I feel like it's better to have it smoked out, because if they are still holding that angle, they can look at you and shoot at you. So I like to have it smoked out and to work up ramp a little bit. And I used to have trouble with this. Sometimes I would angle right at it and it would bounce back and land onto a site. But what I found what works out is hugging this left wall or this right wall. You can kind of like bounce it on the edge to make sure it doesn't bounce out and bounces back into the building, into Heaven. So it's harder to mess up those. And if you for some reason are in the open, you want to aim a little bit higher and you can get it right in. But I think the safest and 100% ices are to hug the walls. You're a bit safer from getting peeked from over here as well. Just have to make sure this left side is clear. And then once you do have sight, you can kind of just, there's 2 separate ices you want to do for stopping the CT. You want to actually block off this whole CT entrance. And in case they're hiding in this corner, you can kind of just throw it into that corner instead. You know, there's tons of different ices you can do here. Pretty straightforward. And make sure you have all these angles cleared. Make sure someone clears this A short or sewer angle for you. Make sure these corners are cleared. Then you want to throw a wall up. Really good wall to wall CT side. Or if this is still smoked out and you know no one, if both CT is smoked and Heaven is smoked, you could go for this wall. I think this wall is also very efficient. It's a little risky because it takes time to set up. Defense, I rarely play defense on A, and when I do, you can kind of wall off sewer or A short and look down. You have the different offings with these boxes as well. You just look back down. And of course, when you're rotating from B side or something to defend A, I like to ice right here. Kind of stops them from pushing if they're already not on site yet. If you know they're still on the ramp, this one you need to work on a little bit is to aim pretty much like right on the box. And it can literally land right on this ramp. Like to ice that, and I hug this wall and bounce it off the bomb site to get this iced off as well. To kind of try and stop their push. You could angle it a little higher to get it a little further in. Instead of peeking all the way out and getting caught slipping, shooting the ice, safest to just bounce it off that. Bounce it off the wall. And make sure you clear your corners here and have no one pushed up already. Another quick tip on the A site. This isn't necessarily a Sage tip, but instead of taking fall damage, you can literally just walk onto this box and make it play for anyone low under Heaven instead of taking fall damage. I've always found out that that helps. You can definitely catch someone off guard down there when they're not prepared. And you can even jump to the box. The thing is, you have to jump with your knife out. You might be able to make it with your gun, but I haven't really perfected it that well, or I'm not consistent enough with it. I like to jump off, switch to my gun, and then shoot for under Heaven, or challenge under Heaven right after. I definitely think this box is the safer play. It's definitely more quiet as well. So we're going to rotate over to B here. I think even before the release of the game, everyone knew about this wall back here where you wall yourself back B and you have a nice angle for mid window. It's definitely what some people do. I personally don't really do that much. When I do play B, I usually just wall this. And you get to jump on the high ground and play these boxes as well. I think it's pretty useful. Start of some B-side rounds, there's a wall here. If you know they're gonna peek from window, it's nice to get the ice off and then challenge the gunfight. You're kind of stuck there. if they are in the ice, stuck to the fight, and you guys can double peek it, or you're gonna have someone opping it and getting ready to challenge, and it's pretty helpful. Oh shit. You can throw it off this box right there. I don't necessarily recommend this because icing this doesn't really seem like the efficient play, as they're usually not just playing in open right here, they're playing tucked in on the left or right side, so I don't really recommend that ice, but it's nice to know in case you ever really need to do it. If you are playing this seashore, or I call it garage, it's good to just wall this off to slow them off, but it's also good to do this little cheese here where you wall and you can kind of look over this hole above the door to anyone going into this alt mid section of the map. This usually only works once per game because once they figure it out, they know that you're up there and they can just pre-fire you back or spray you back. Really hard to see from the attacker side that you're up there, for sure. So I always think that if you're in this pocket, you have the advantage. It's a lot more easier to see and shoot them back up here. Okay, and then C side, if you're for some reason playing Sage on this, I haven't really felt like Sage is really necessarily a C side player, but you can wall this to get onto this height. Pretty good offing that the enemies wouldn't be expecting. You can also play this back site, do the same thing if you want to get a nice advantage here. But probably the safest one is to make sure your wall isn't sticking past this box so they don't know you're here. And you have a nice little angle from the bomb site. No one's really expecting you. You can probably peek and get some nice op shots in if you're opping here. Okay, and then C side, if you're for some reason playing Sage on this, I haven't really felt like Sage is really necessarily a C side player, but you can wall this to get onto this height. Pretty good offing that the enemies wouldn't be expecting. You can also play this back site, do the same thing if you want to get a nice advantage here. But probably the safest one is to make sure your wall isn't sticking past this box so they don't know you're here. And you have a nice little angle from the bomb site. No one's really expecting you. You can probably peek and get some nice op shots in if you're opping here. And if you're on the attacker side, pushing into C, I know there are crazy lineups you can do to get into the back of the site, but I personally don't really do them much because I think smokes are better off for pushing you into the site. I think the best ones to really do is just icing the back site so they can't peek here as you start pushing for this site. Good to ice the back of the site. You can even ice CT for rotation, but if you're still taking site, you want to ice back of the site, maybe even logs, so it's harder for them to peek. Make sure you start clearing site, make sure garage is clear, especially make sure this corner is clear. And once you have it safe, there's tons of different walls that I've seen being used here, but from what I've seen, this is possibly the worst wall. Jets can jump, Omens can TP. It's safer for Raze to blow this up and jump as well. That wall isn't necessarily the best one. There are two different walls you can really do here. One is actually putting it in the wall or a part of the arch. The Jets can no longer jump up here. Omens can no longer TP up here. And it makes it a lot harder for the enemy to really do anything but break the wall. And you can also do it right here, where you stand on the wall itself. Gotta wait for this to break. As you can see, Jets still can't jump up here. Omens still can't jump up here. And you can also play this angle and hold CT. You can not only watch garage if they do break this and you just look down and shoot at them, you're also looking at CT. I think it's also always really good to have different angles, because they're generally not gonna look up here and you're gonna get some free kills. It's always really safe. And if you do manage to get into CT, this wall is much harder to get off because you have to push all the way into CT. If you do have complete control, You do both sides. You can do walls of facing both directions. Either one. I think it'll, you know, I generally do think these are fine, but Jets and everyone can, all the mobile agents can still just jump over it and get to this box or jump onto your wall anyways. So I definitely recommend walling this instead. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This is just how I think Sage should be played on this map. If you made it to the end of the video, make sure to hit that like button. Leave me a comment below on what other things you want to know and learn about the game. If you didn't know, I stream on Twitch regularly, almost every single day. And all the links for that will be in the description below. And yeah, let's work on improving at this game collectively. You know, the game's only been out for a few weeks, so we have a lot to learn.